Welcome to Airgun Action. In this week's episode I'm taking a look at a great little compact scope from Konus, but before that I'm back on the rats and it turns out to be another interesting night around the slurry pit. Well, that was an old warrior with one eye there. Now its mate did the sensible thing and cleared off, but there seem to be a lot of rats on the move now, so I'm going to stop talking and crack on with it. There's another one sticking his head out. Wow, that is the third rat from that spot in about 10 minutes. It must be absolutely crawling with them over there. Now, it's only about 10 metres away, which means that these shots are needing a bit of holdover, but fortunately with this setup I can mount the scope pretty low to the barrel, so it doesn't need a lot. Yet another one from that exact same spot there. Now, it is slowing down a little bit, but I think we'll give it a little bit longer before we move on and try another area. That was another one from the gap in that wall where they were pretty active towards the start of the session. Now, in all honesty, it has slowed down. We've given this area a bit of a pasting, so I think I am going to move on and try another spot. Now, my basic approach tonight, unusually we didn't get here until it was already dark, so all I did was had a quick wander around with the thermal spotter, just to try and look where the rats were active. Now, unsurprisingly, the slurry pit where we actually shot quite a few weeks ago, I saw quite a few rats there, and I also saw several around a grain store very close to here, and I must admit I'm pretty convinced that the rats that I've been shooting in this spot, they're the ones that are going back and forth and feeding on that grain. Before we do move on, and I think we will head to the slurry pit area next, I'll just take this opportunity and I can make a bit of noise just to talk you through the kit. So the gun I've got tonight is the FX Dreamline Classic, which I use a lot for ratting. I've said before it's 177 caliber, sub 12 foot-pounds, and obviously sub 12 really is useful when you're shooting in the confines of buildings like this. The optic is the HIC Micro Alpex, which again has become one of my real sort of go-to pieces of kit through the last few months. It produces a colour day image and hopefully, as you'll see, a really good infrared image by night. I've actually got the Wicked Light illuminator on it tonight. To be honest with you, you don't need this much power for ratting. I can always wind it down, but this illuminator really does increase the detection range of this unit quite significantly. And as ever, it's held on with Sportsmatch scope mounts, and as I mentioned earlier, if possible, I do like to try and keep the scope nice and low to the gun, because when you're shooting rats over these fairly close ranges, it just means that you don't have to apply quite so much holdover, and if you get it slightly wrong, you're still likely to hit them in the head. So that's the kit. I'm going to get myself over towards the slurry pit. Oh, I was waiting for that one to drop out of there and into the water, but it looks like it's staying where it is still. It's good to see a few on the move, so I'm just going to carry on with it. one from the top of the wall that time. I'm actually going to make that the last one. It's a cold night, and it's actually been a bit slower in this area than I'd really expected, but we will edit out the long wait so you don't have to sit through that. I'm not complaining though. We must have shot the best part of 20 rats tonight, and that's going to make a significant difference. And I mean, most importantly, the kit's performed really well, and it's enabled me to make the absolute most of every chance that has cropped up. The Hick Micro Alpex doing another great job on the rats there. Next up, let's take a look at a compact Konus scope from Rangerite. I've got a super compact telescopic sight here today. Now it's the Konus Pro T30 3-12 by 44 from Rangerite, and it retails for £199. Now I've got it set up on the Reximex Pretensis today, but being so small, it would lend itself brilliantly to use with a compact carbine airgun or even a bullpup. This little scope is waterproof, fog-proof and shockproof, so range shouldn't be a problem, and it will stand up to the recoil of a spring-powered or gas ram airgun. Now, build quality looks and feels to be very good, and I reckon it would be a great choice if you want to scale down your combo and shave off some weight. Now, it's just 245mm long and weighs a mere 525 grams without mounts. This scope seems to feature some decent glass because image quality is bright and clear and stays sharp right to the edges. Now, despite being so small and light, this scope still incorporates a 30mm tube. Now, that tube works with coated lenses and a 44mm objective lens to deliver good light transmission in a variety of conditions. This model is a second focal plane scope, and it features Konus's engraved 550 reticle. Now there's a fast focus dial at the rear of the ocular bell, and that enables you to quickly get the reticle pin sharp for your eye. Now as reticle designs go, I really like this one, and it certainly suits my style of shooting. There are plenty of different aim points for hold over, hold under and wind compensation, but most importantly, it's not too complicated so you can make your adjustments quickly. The reticle can also be illuminated, which is a really handy feature in poor light conditions and when you're presented with a tricky backdrop that makes it difficult to see your aim points in black. Now, the illumination is controlled by the dial on the left-hand side of the scope. Now that turns to illuminate the central element of the reticle in 5 levels of brightness in either red or blue. The windage and elevation turrets are protected by caps that guard against the elements and prevent accidental adjustment. Now, if you unscrew those caps, you can then quickly access the tool-free finger adjustable dials. Now those dials turn with really clear stops, each click adjusting the point of impact by 1/4 of an inch at 100 yards. This scope is fixed parallax, but Konus and Rangerite have ensured that this airgun specific model is just right for its intended use. Now, it looks to me like it's parallaxed for 30 meters, which is spot on for a sub 12 foot-pound airgun. And to be honest, it's only really noticeable at the top end of the magnification scale. Turn it down to just 10 times and focus is pretty sharp from 20 meters right out to 40 meters. Wind it down further and it's focused and sharp over an even greater range. At 5 times magnification, you could comfortably
shoot rats at between 8 and 10 metres. Magnification is adjusted via the chunky grooved dial at the front of the ocular bell. Now it turns smoothly and with just about the right amount of resistance. Again, I think the 3 to 12 times zoom range is pretty much perfect for use with sub 12 foot-pound air guns. Now at the lower end of the zoom scale, sort of 3 to 5 times, you've got that wider field of view and deeper depth of field, which lends itself brilliantly to close range pest control. However, you've also got that increased magnification for greater precision tackling longer targets, either from the bench or with the support of a bipod once you've cranked it up to 10 or 12 times. This scope doesn't come with a huge range of fancy extras, and I find that quite reassuring, as it should mean that your money is going on quality rather than unnecessary gimmicks. Nonetheless, it does come with a lens cloth, a battery for the illuminated reticle, and a set of push-on flip-up lens covers to keep the glass safe in storage and in transit. So that's the Konus Pro T30 3-12x44. It's a really nice looking little scope, and I particularly like the little cowl that serves as a sunshade over the top of the objective lens. Most importantly though, it performs well and its optical quality is really impressive for a scope that costs less than £200. Now, as I said at the outset, it's going to be a really good match for a smaller airgun or a bullpup, and it's going to shave off some weight, which is a really important consideration if you want a lightweight setup for carrying around the fields. So, if you're in the market for a sensibly priced compact scope, this one should certainly be on your list. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for in this week's episode, but as ever, I'll be back again in 2 weeks' time with much, much more. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and it means you won't miss a single episode. So, I'll see you in a fortnight, and in the meantime, enjoy your shooting and stay safe.